is up, everybody?
Hey.
Just kind of hang out for a second, let everybody get on. I'll say hi real quick. Mommy's fucking.
Ryan, is that a 49ers jersey?
It is absolutely a 49ers jersey.
All right. I like your quarterback.
Yeah, I bet you do.
I miss him.
I was going to say, probably pretty disappointed he left.
Yeah.
Ryan, we had the leadership call earlier this week on Monday. There was a scavenger hunt where they gave us like 20 minutes and just gave us this random list of things in our house to go find, like a 1974 penny and like all these random things. And one of the random things was a 49ers jersey. And I was like, oh, I need to just have Brian text me a picture of it or something.
I have like 20 of them.
I figured. I was like, I don't have any of those, but I know Brian has some.
I have a Jerry Rice jersey I've had since I was 10 years old.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I had Steve Young's rookie card from back then.
So we can get cracking. This is another mastermind where we had one earlier this week on Tuesday. We're going to start having them Tuesdays at 3 and Thursdays at 10. We have some topics that people have brought up in the past. So virtual showings, open houses, YouTube channels, YouTube channels and like Zoom meetings is one that we'll talk about today with whoever has any information they want to give out. Negotiating in the market that we're in is another one that we've been asked about. A listing presentation video, just going through how we're doing listing presentations right now. And then communication in this time and lead gen and converting is another one. So we've got some topics. If you guys have any, I'll ask again at the end of this one, if you guys have anything that you're thinking of or anything that you'd love to see or contribute on that you think would be of value, we're happy to hear about that. I'm going to actually, if it's okay, I'm going to go ahead and share this to Facebook also so that it is out there and other people can join us if they want to. So who has been crushing it and who has been doing awesome things out there in this market as far as listing appointments go or any of those things? Anybody? Everybody's on here to learn about it, but nobody's actually has anything that they've done to mastermind about. One of the things that I was asked about, let me set this live stream up on Facebook. All right, sorry about that. So one of the things I was asked about was to show how Zoom works or how having a Zoom meeting works. was everybody on the office meeting on Tuesday that Scott did between Raleigh and 684 and us?
Yes, I was.
Yep.
And
Yes.
heard about some of the stuff that Olivia's doing.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty good. She addressed a lot of the things that I think that we, we're thinking about talking about on this call. One of the things was it you, Renee, that asked about showing how Zoom works and screen sharing works and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If we can do, how you share the screen. You said something about a whiteboard.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I
Things
can
that you think would be beneficial, when we're talking to a client, like
Sure.
going over document reviews, that kind of, and if we're showing comps and stuff like that, how the whiteboard would be beneficial.
Yep, sure. So sharing the screen, and everybody, this meeting, everybody should be able to actually do it if they wanted to. If you look down at the bottom of your screen right now, there's a green button that says share screen.
Yeah.
So I'm going to click that button, and I'm actually going to share this screen and see how this works. I haven't done that before, but let's see. So what are you guys seeing right now?
Mountains.
Okay.
Mountains.
Yeah. So let me unshare and see if I can share. So I'm not sure how to actually share my Zoom screen that I'm sharing. It's like a never-ending mirror kind of a thing. So hold on, sorry, I've got a kid jump on my lap. Buddy, can you go see mom? Sorry, hold on one second, guys. Buddy, come here.
I know that on Google Hangout, you can also share your screen the similar way. There's like a share screen button. I can see if mine works.
Okay, sorry guys. So yeah, if you go down to the bottom, there's a green share screen button. And what's going to come up is it pulls out, like right now I have 3 monitors that I'm working from. And so it will ask me if I want to share monitor 1, monitor 2, or monitor 3. And then it will give me an option about if I want to share a whiteboard. It'll give me an option of my, like, a bunch of windows that I have open. So I can share where it will lock, if I decide to share my Google Chrome and then I move it from screen to screen, it will stay locked in on that Google Chrome and locked in on that screen. So I'll share.
Stop! You can share files directly from Google Drive, Microsoft, and Dropbox.
Yep.
So I guess if you were reviewing a file and you just wanted them to see the file and not your whole screen, you can do like basic, advanced, and files.
And you can also share, like, for meetings that you're having with the team or something, if you want to just have some background music while people are jumping on, you can share some sound from your computer too. I wish that I could figure out how to share what I'm looking at, because once I share it, the thing that gives me my sharing option goes away. So let me do this. Let's see if I can screenshot what I'm looking at right now. All right, so can you guys see my MLS now?
Yes.
Okay, so all I did
Well, I
there,
see your Facebook page.
you see my Facebook page?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
I see Jeanette Womble's house for sale.
Mhm.
That's interesting.
There you go.
Yep.
There's Paragon or whatever you call it.
So let me move this over. So now you're seeing my MLS?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what happens is you can share that. It also gives you the option to share your iPhone if you want, or your phone. And it really, Renee, it'll be self-explanatory once you jump on and hit that green sharing button.
Mhm.
It'll give you those options. Like it puts up your monitors, it puts up your windows, and there's advanced and another tab across the top. And that'll, allow you to share from Dropbox, or allow you to share files or whatever you want to share. And so,
Interestingly enough, I just clicked on it and it said you cannot share a screen while another participant is sharing. So only one person can share at a time.
so you can make it here. I can make it so that there's more than one person allowed to share. And so we could both be sharing screens at the same time. That's just an option. When you go to share your screen, that's an option that you can click if you want to. So let's see. So can you see the sharing thing now still?
Yeah.
It still won't let me share.
No, I'm saying on the screen that I'm on right now, can you see?
Yours is still on.
We can see your Paragon.
Okay. Yeah, I just dragged the sharing window over there. I can't show you the options of sharing because that's, it's like I can't show you the sharing options because that's behind the screen, I guess. I was trying to drag it into the same screen and show you, but it says basic advanced files across the top. You can share from Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, or Box. Or you can share a portion of the screen, or you can share content from a second camera. So some people have, like, I forget what they call them, but like their overhead projectors where they can actually write, and they have a camera looking at that and they're writing on the screen. And so like I was on one the other day where a guy he had an actual camera set up and he was just writing on paper below it, and it was letting you see what he was writing. So this is my MLS, and so I could go on here and share. I could do a comp search and go through and show people what I'm looking at, and you can see my mouse, right? So like just as an example, if I pulled these comps up, you guys are seeing the comps, the listings, right?
Nope.
I can see them.
I can see a list
Yes.
of about 20 houses. Yeah.
So you can see my mouse moving back and forth. So as you're going through it with people, you can see, what you're showing. People can see what you're doing. All right, let me go pull a whiteboard. Can you see me making those lines right there?
Yes.
So there's a thing that when you go into the share, you can go to annotate. It gives you, when you're sharing, it gives you a menu across the top that is mute, stop video, security, manage participants, polls, a new share, pause your share, or annotate. And then there's a remote control where I could actually give you guys control of my computer if you wanted me to. So like if somebody's trying to ask you a question, they can't describe where, what question they're asking.
Oh, we can annotate on yours too. I just drew a line on there, I think. Can you guys see that?
I was just,
Yeah.
Green line.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
At the top, it like showed me, it was like Matt Carroll is sharing his screen, and then it says options. And then I can like scroll down to like side by side view 50%. Now that I did side by side view, I can't see it anymore. I don't know what I did, but then I just hit annotate and
Yeah,
I guess.
so Clara, I also just gave you control of my mouse. So
Oh.
I'm not moving my mouse anymore. And Clara's moving the mouse around the screen, if you guys can see that.
I don't even know how to get out of this. Okay, guys, I'm in control now.
I'll take here, let it go, and I'll take control back again.
Okay. It's like, I don't know what I just did.
So like if you're in a meeting and a client's asking you a question about something and they can't describe the part of your screen, or they're asking you a question, you can just give them control of your mouse and they can move around and control that one screen right there.
Huh.
Or you could ask them if like right now, let me do this. I'm gonna stop this share. And then if for example, if one of you were to share your screen, you could give me control, and then I could, go in and control and show you how to do something on your computer. So it's another way to do it. So all right, I'll show you the whiteboard now here. So well, that's weird. This is going smashingly. So do you still see my MLS right here?
No.
No.
It's the whiteboard.
I see a white screen with a squiggle in the bottom right-hand corner.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, it popped up behind me. So this whiteboard is interactive. It popped up behind your picture, so I couldn't see where it went. That's why. So the whiteboard's interactive. So I can draw on the whiteboard, and then any of you could also go on and draw the whiteboard. So we could be working on collaborating together on the whiteboard. And to open that up, you just go to share, and then instead of picking one of your screens, you just choose whiteboard.
It's Matt. On mine, it's still telling me that I can't share a screen while others are participating.
You're not trying to share the screen right now.
Well, how do I go to do the drawing like other people are doing it?
Are you on your phone? Or are you on a tablet?
No, I'm on my Mac.
It should say at the top of your Zoom screen in green, you are viewing Matt Carroll's screen. Do you have that?
Let me move you guys over to the side. I got you stacked. Yeah, I see that. Oh, okay. All right.
View
Yeah.
options, and then you can like annotate,
Gotcha.
and that's how you start drawing.
I just had it covered up with all y'all.
Yeah, that's why the same thing I did. I couldn't find it earlier because you were behind. I was behind you. So like if we were doing this together, like for example on your team, if I don't know, you and David wanted to have a meeting with somebody, or you and Eric wanted to meet somebody together, you can both be on there collaborating back and forth on the same whiteboard, drawing out pictures, writing notes, and you can put text on there and whatever you want to do. And that just makes your own collaborative free drawing whiteboard.
Cool.
That's interesting. I love it. I don't know when I'd ever use it, but it's cool.
Yeah, I've used it in recruiting appointments to be able to just show people, the things I would normally write down on my table or write down on a piece of paper, and different things. I've been able to show people that way. All right, so that is that. And that really, that's the Zoom calls. And there's ways I can go in, like right now, if we wanted to all have breakout sessions. So if you wanted to have a team meeting or something like that, and then break out for some scripting role play or something like that, there's a thing at the bottom that I can click that says breakout rooms. And I can break us out randomly into groups of 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever, or I could assign people to different groups, and I can put a time limit on it. So I could say, hey, we're going to break out for 5 minutes, have a chat, do some scripting, and then we'll all get back together after that. And it'll have a countdown of when it's going to jump back in as to the main meeting. So
That's pretty slick.
Yep.
Yeah, we did that. I've been using Zoom for my, adult Sunday school class at church, and we did that this Sunday. We broke everybody out and had our own little like small groups, and then got back together as a big class. It was pretty cool.
Did y'all do that for your scavenger hunt the other day?
Yep. Anything with a scavenger hunt.
I got off of that call immediately.
I figured. So did Scott. I was the sucker that stayed on it. It was pretty cool.
Like, I'm not even gonna get put on the team. I'm out of this room.
It was actually pretty cool because it was the thing I could do with my kids during the day. They loved it. They dumped their piggy banks out and were looking for a 1974 penny. And I told Brian Slinker I needed a San Francisco 49ers jersey, and I could have come to him and got one. But
yeah, I told Brenda was on there. I said they wanted bold trophies or something. I said we have about 10 in that basket. Go get all those bold trophies out of my basket.
Yep.
She was at the office.
All right. So what's everybody doing in the way of? So Renee, what else can I tell you about Zoom? Do you have more questions about Zoom before we move on to something else?
I think it's just a matter of getting in there.
Yep.
How can you get in there and just play in it without actually going live to somebody?
So you would need to you can get in it and just start a meeting by yourself and just not invite anybody to it, and get in there and mess around. You just won't really be able to tell what they're seeing. You could do it between like your computer and your phone and join both. If you wanted to, like I could join from this meeting from my phone right now, and you'd have 2 different pictures of me. It would be the same account. So you could do that with yourself, but you could also jump on with Eric or David or something and just mess around with it and get familiar. There's a free account. The free account allows for pretty much everything I told you about, except for it doesn't have breakout rooms, and some of those, it doesn't let you stream to Facebook, some of those things. But it does, you can have a free account with as many people as you want in a meeting up to 40 minutes. You can do one-on-one meetings unlimited, or, more than 2 people for up to 40 minutes. So we've used it on our team so far. We've used it to have, we had a buyer that wanted to see a house, but didn't want to go to the house. They've got a young kid and nobody to watch the young kid. They didn't want to take a young kid in somebody else's house, and et cetera, et cetera. So our clients I got on a Zoom meeting with our clients and asked them where to walk and where to go, and, show this and then go out to the backyard and now do this and now do that. And so we made a video of her house, and I was able to send the link to the other agent, and she shared it with her people. And they actually made an offer. We had multiple offers, so they didn't get it, but it was a, good enough thing for them to make an offer from. So it's nice because it lets you stream, it lets you send the link instead of having to send like an actual big, file, like email a file to them or something.
And Matt, quick question.
Yep.
How are you keeping all these Zoom meetings as far as the links and everything? Is there an integration as far as Google Calendar or anything like that? Or
Yep, it integrates with Google Calendar. And then there's also, I have the app on my computer, and so it has my schedule on the app. So I just can go through and click them.
so I can go through on the Zoom platform and then start like planning my day as far as those go?
So you could do that on your meetings. If it's other people's meetings, you'd have to actually be invited to them on Zoom, and it would keep them on your calendar. Otherwise, like when I send out a Zoom meeting to specific people, I can send out a calendar invite where they just say accept, and then it just pops onto their calendar and the link's on there.
Okay.
But what most people will do, I haven't been doing it because we're using this Zoom for different reasons, but you have like your own specific Zoom link. So you could just have that be your link. So anybody that wants to have an appointment with you just uses that same link. So like this mastermind Zoom link that we're using, we use the same link every Tuesday and Thursday. And this is like our mastermind link. We don't use it. We could use just one link for every Zoom meeting we have. There are some offices who are doing Zoom meetings and they're using the same link for everything. So if you log in at 9, we're having this meeting. If you hit the link at 3 o'clock, we're having that meeting. If you log in tomorrow at 2, we're having another meeting. It's the same link. So everybody knows they're just going to that same link every time. The problem with that is that you have people logging in. If you've got like a 9 o'clock and a 10 o'clock and your 9 o'clock is running right up to it, you've got people logging in 10 minutes early and jumping onto the end of a call, and they're not muted yet and they're making a bunch of noise. And, you might have one call that's like a private, meeting with clients. And then you've got next meeting that's a meeting with another client. And so they're, overlapping if you're using the same link. So we've been using different links for all of our meetings. You know, the specific meeting, like the morning mindset link is the same link all the time for morning mindset. Our mastermind link is the same link for the masterminds. Our compliance classes we've been having, that's the same link for that. So you could have an individual client, you know, 123 Main Street could have their own link. So anytime you're going to have a meeting, you just say, hey, click that Zoom link and we'll jump on and we'll talk. And they have their own individual link for that.
But the host has to be there first, right?
Nope, you don't. We had a little bit of a mix up on our compliance this morning because our morning mindset went a little bit longer than I thought, but there's a setting on there that you can say, allow meeting to begin without host or something like that. There's one that says enable waiting room, and the waiting room just says everybody's in that waiting room until the meeting starts and the host says, oh, everybody enter. And that would be for, like, if you and Eric wanted to have a chat first before you met with your client, you could set up that enable waiting room, and then you two are talking back and forth and saying, okay, here's what we're going to do, and okay, well, it's about time to have the appointment. Let's go ahead and enable the waiting, or allow the guests in the waiting room to join. And that way, if they jumped on 10 minutes earlier than you thought, and you thought you're going to have up until the time, like let's say a 3 o'clock meeting, and you jump on at 2:30 to go through some things real quick before your 3 o'clock meeting, and then they jump on at 2:45, you thought you had up until 3 o'clock. Well, if you just enable that waiting room, it would have them pop in. It would say, meeting is in progress. Host will, allow you to enter in a, whatever, 15 minutes, or, host will enable you to enter at a certain point or something like that. And then they know the meeting's happening and there's no glitch. They're just kind of hanging out until they're joined to the meeting.
On KWP Resource, you can also add all of our Zoom meetings, like the scheduled ones that we have in the office. You can add those to your Google Calendar.
Yep.
That's what you were talking about too, Brandon.
Yep.
Yeah.
KWPresource.com, and then the training calendar or the event calendar. All the individual links for our stuff is on there.
Yeah, you can click on them and it'll say Google Calendar, and you can just add it right onto there. It'll show up on your calendar with the link.
Awesome.
All right, so that's Zoom in a nutshell. Wasn't the smoothest demonstration I've ever done, but got the point across, I guess. So what kind of things are you guys doing as far as like virtual showings? Have you guys been doing virtual showings? Have been doing virtual open houses?
No.
Nope.
I've done the virtual, walkthrough.
I watched that.
Puffing and puffing. People kept calling me.
It sounds a lot better though when you talk, because I watched somebody else's and they weren't talking and it was just kind of weird. I think it's definitely better if you're talking. If you're just on your phone, if it's a professional video, obviously, I think it looks fine without talking, but just on your iPhone and you're not talking, you look like you're sneaking into this person's house and they don't really know. And then people will not have all the doors open, so then it's their phone, and then the phone is turning to somewhere else in the house. They're trying to open the closet door or something. That's just random outside non-agent.
I've been experimenting with some of this stuff. Sorry, I'm in the car, so I can't put my video on. But I did a walkthrough of me narrating. Sorry. The walkthrough at the vacant condo that I have, and I am going to try to use it as a virtual open house, but I'm nervous to actually implement it. But the video turned out pretty good. I mean, it's 23 minutes long, and my plan was to maybe do a watch party on Facebook or something like that. And I've also been doing walkthroughs with, yesterday we had a client, and I told him to watch one that I had done in the past and to video the rooms themselves and send it to me. And then I put him in iMovie, the iMovie app, and then you can basically, mute the sound of the footsteps and the doors opening and things like that. And you can put a soundtrack behind it. And I've been putting those on YouTube, but the problem with those is that you can't, like Olivia said, you can't tours on MLS because it's branded to your YouTube channel. So anyway, I don't know. I've been experimenting.
That's awesome.
Hey,
Uh,
Amy,
Yeah.
we put everything on YouTube, and we just have a generic YouTube page, and it doesn't really, I mean, you would really have to do a lot of clicking to trace it back to the Royal Simons Group.
Okay.
So you might want to just do that. I mean, I don't even care. Ours is Columbia Homes for Sale. I mean, everybody can upload something on that YouTube page and use that. I think like I said, I think I've got it buried well enough, you know, to where you would have to do a lot of clicking around to find out who the page belongs to.
And Renee,
Yeah,
are
it took
you
me forever
putting that
to
on there
figure
as
out
your-
how to. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, are you putting that on the MLS as your virtual tour then?
Yeah, I go in, I use that, what is it, something BitLinks and
Yep.
create, because we always do two virtual tours, one's branded and one's not. And for the MLS, you know, I'll click the YouTube link and then create, it'll say like 216 Peninsula MLS, you know, and then that's what I link back in the MLS. I mean, I don't know how else to get our virtual tours on the MLS without doing it that way.
Yep, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, they don't know what links we're sending out, like whether it's to, you know, Matterport links or whatever links. So as long as it's not branded, I don't think you get your wrist slapped on that. Whether
Yeah,
it's
I think I can share. I mean, and like I said, I don't care. While I'm sitting here, I'll see if I can share that link to the YouTube page. I mean, it's just like I said, it's generic. It says Columbia Homes for Sale.
It took me forever to figure out how to make a branded page instead of putting it up on my personal YouTube. Like, John had to help me. He's like, okay, here. And then, yeah, it's a learning curve. But the other thing that I've discovered is that Zillow makes a 3D Homes app, Zillow 3D. And if if you have a Zillow account, then you can download the app. And essentially it's like a free Matterport.
Mm-hmm.
So you go in the house and you open the app, and then you start your, it tells you, it kind of walks you through which room you're doing. And then you just basically hold your phone up and do a huge panorama, like you spin around, and then you make a walkthrough of the house. Like you submit all of the panoramas up to Zillow, and then it like automatically puts the tour together. And then when it sends it back to me, then I kind of edit it and I add the arrows and, things like that. So you can basically get a walkthrough that's not perfect, but I mean, for now. So those are the ones I've been putting up onto the MLS virtual tour because I can't figure out the YouTube thing. And then I just put in the remarks on MLS
virtual walkthrough that the agent can email us, and I can send them the link if they want to see it to the YouTube.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now that I'm only doing that for our vacant properties though. Like I'm not, or they have to be like out of the house for 24 hours. I mean, I'm like, sorry, I'm not going to go to an occupied house. So, there's that.
I just shared the link in the chat room.
Cool.
If anybody can trace it back to me easily, please let me know.
So I think logistically, just talking about the things to do, making sure that your home is ready, excuse me, so that you're not walking through having to open doors while you're taking a video, making sure the lights are on, all those things that you'd have to do to prep for a video, I think is one of the keys. One of the things that we have been doing, to speak to Amy's point about going to occupied houses, we're still showing, like we're still allowing showings and we're still showing, but we've had a few clients that are not like they're working from home, And so they're like, man, for us to leave, you know, every 2 hours or something, like we're not getting any work done, and we got to take time off of work. We got to let our work know that we aren't working. But now we can't even really go out because we got, you know, we have to be either going to work or going to an essential place because of the lockdown. So what do we do? And so one of the things we did yesterday, one of the houses we put back on the market that had fallen through twice because both buyers lost their jobs, is we just made a showing window, and we said, okay, so tomorrow from 5 o'clock to 6:30, the sellers are going to be out of the house. And Haley went to the house, and we had like 4 or 5 people, I think, that wanted to look at the house. And so she just went to the house and then allowed them to come in, you know, one at a time, and, you know, had wipes and, you know, all the things. And, you know, the first group got there and went in, then they left, and the next group got there and went in. And so Haley was kind of like, you know, the bouncer at the door, letting them come and go. And then that was our showing window. And if we didn't get a contract from that showing window, we were going to have another one a few days later, just to allow, you know, to make it more convenient for our sellers to not have to leave so often and not have a ton of people coming through their house and then having to clean up after them, and, you know, having a lot of things to monitor. It was just one time they're coming, you know, we'll make sure that all the doors are open. We'll make sure that we're watching where they're going, and they're not touching stuff in your house. And then they leave, and then you come back into your house and have to wipe things down one time. You know, so that was one idea that we've had to do that. That was actually the same house that we did the video, that had the seller do the video for. The other thing was the platforms to do videos. I know that people have talked about FaceTime, but if you don't have FaceTime, there's the Duo, Google Duo, that can be used on any platform. You can download it from the App Store and the iPhone. There's also, I've heard people using Facebook Messenger. Has anybody used that for a video?
Yes.
Because like, it doesn't matter what kind of phone you have, everybody has Facebook Messenger to record videos.
Also on Messenger, you can do more than one person on the call as well. I do my fantasy football drafts like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, one of the things we learned the hard way the first time we did the video was we tried to use Zoom, and the Zoom setting is whoever's talking, it shows them on Zoom. So the very first time we did it, the client was like, you know, 7 o'clock at night, the client's walking through her house, and I'm on the phone, like telling her, okay, so go to this room and then go to that room. Okay, go outside, do this, do that, do this. And I can see what she's doing on my screen, but the recorded video, all it was me talking. So like I got the video link and it was just me watching myself talk the whole time. And so I had to basically say, okay, go back and do that exact same thing you just did, but I'm going to shut up and mute myself. And before you go in, you have to talk so that the screen goes on to you and it stays on you the whole time. And so the second time around, the video was good. So that's, if you're going to do them on Zoom, make sure you have that figured out. What else? Is anybody else have any creative ideas or creative solutions to what they're doing out there right now? And everybody's on mute right now, I think. So if you want to chime in, just unmute yourself.
Matt, it's Bev talking.
Hey, Bev.
And hi, I've enjoyed these. I feel like part of your family here. Just wanted to share something because we are finding in our office now that we have some sellers who are getting cold feet about closing. They are nervous about going to rental properties until they find their houses. And as Nick Promitis has said, there is no nervous clause in the contract. People cannot back out because there's a virus. Our broker Desmond was saying he's getting so many questions on that from buyers and sellers. And it's just not an option to use that to back out of a contract. We had someone yesterday who decided, no, we're not going to close on our home as sellers after all. And I put them in touch with an attorney so they recognize what the consequences are of opting out. You know, the inspections are done and the whole bit. So I just wanted to share that. Evidently that is coming up now, and there's nothing that is stipulated about opting out of a contract because of this virus.
Yeah, I mean, we have a document that we're using in our office that is, there's a clause that we're adding that just says that if, and now it doesn't necessarily say that if you just get nervous, it just says that if there's, you're affected by the virus, like if you get the virus or the buyer gets it, the seller gets it or whatever, then there's an automatic extension of the contract. But there's a lot of people putting out documents like that. I don't know what's right and what's wrong when it comes to that, because how do you define, like, you have to have a doctor's note from you to be able to get that extension? Like, you have to know that you got sick or that you had a family member that got sick or whatever. So yeah, that's a thing. I think we just need to be aware that it's happening and work on some scripts to get around it, both for our buyers and our sellers.
Right, and we have that document too. This was listed previously.
Right.
And before this all happened, it was a long closing by my seller's choice as well. So, but everybody is having the documents, even lenders now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it looks like everybody on here is a KW person. So if you go to KW Connect, there's a lot of scripts around that about, talking people through that. And that was kind of one of the previous mastermind we had talked a lot about, scripting and things that you can talk about and make your clients aware of. Like if you're not going to buy now, what are rates going to be later? And how much uncertainty is there going to be going on later, and how does that affect your family and everything else? It's just take them to that place, because for some people it may be that it's not a smart time for you to buy, and we have to look out for their best interest. But a lot of people, it's just because you're nervous or just because there's things going on, is that really a reason not to buy? And what is that going to do to you? Is it right now you're locked in at a 3% interest rate, and if you decide, hey, I want to wait 3 or 4 months, what's that interest rate going to be at that point? Like, we know what it's at now, and we know what you're buying now. We don't know what the market's going to be, and we don't know if you have your job. We don't know what's going to happen. So right now might be the time that you're qualified to buy something. Who knows what the future holds?
Not only that, but I have, people that are renting that have a contract on a house. There's no seller back out my person, because it's just an individual that owns this rental. So they could already have it rented to the next person to come in. So they're in a situation, you don't just have to be, we're big military and Sunder. You don't just have to be military to have a reason like you have to move. So I agree. That's not a reason to, just because you're nervous. Like, people are moving. Back to the tour thing, if I can.
Yep.
So is anything listing, and I think multiple people have said it multiple ways, and I just want to make sure I'm on the same page. So all of my listings have been getting videos, whether I think they're going to sell ahead of time or if they're, under 50,000 or whatever they are, they're all getting high definition videos. And that's just something that we can do here. But then you're talking about putting them on unbranded different places. I forget who was talking. Renee.
Yeah. I mean, we have, there's in Columbia, well, it's on Facebook. I mean, I started virtual open houses, something like that, but in trying to encourage agents to do these narrated walkthroughs.
I've lost Renee. Has everybody else lost Renee?
Yeah, looks like 2 people dropped.
The other thing, when my guy goes to take the video, like, I'm doing everything virtually until it's time to take photos, and I'm just preparing my people. Then when he goes to take the photos and the video, I'm going with my cell phone to take all the videos and pictures that I need from a cell phone. And then when I upload that listing to the MLS, I let the real estate agents know, like, hey, these are the steps we're taking. Make sure your person is driven by it. Make sure they've seen the HD video. And then if they want a cell phone video, I can just easily send that to you. And that's been very effective for cutting down on showings for the listings that I've done that for. Several people have called and asked for the cell phone video, and they're like, yeah, we don't need to see it in person. Or they're like, yeah, I think we need to. And it's helped weed out a lot.
Yeah, I think from Columbia MLS requires that if we're going to post it on the MLS, it be unbranded. So that's where the unbranded thing comes from. We can't have our actual like logos on it if we're going to put it on the MLS as a virtual tour. But I think one of the keys is to make sure that you have and is having a video like what you're talking about, Sarah Jane, and not having it just be always just be a live video from one-to-one. You know, like, okay, I have this person who wants to see it, so I'm going to Facebook Messenger with that person. You know, because then you got to do it over and over and over again. I think if we have a video that we have, you know, recorded like you're talking about, like just recorded on your whatever platform you're going to use, then you've got it and you can share it out however many times you want, whether it's going to be YouTube or Zoom or whatever it is.
Well, and I found videos that are only 30 seconds. It's easy to text a video that's only 30 seconds. So I might have 10 videos for one walkthrough because they're all only 30 seconds long, but it's also really easy to upload a 30-second video to Instagram and it looks like I'm going through it right now, but I might have taken that video Monday and it's Friday when I'm loading the listing. So
yeah, that's great stuff.
So I got a question about the virtual open house as far as advertising it. Technically, that would be an open house, right? So you could put it in the MLS as an open house, and then I see some agents are putting in the comments that it's a virtual tour. Would that be something that is all right, I guess?
I would be scared to do that because people might show up to the place. Because if you put the open house in MLS, then it's going to populate it to Zillow, and there's no way to specify that it's a virtual. Maybe
in the comments where you have the comments where the listing is, the public comments, you can put it in there. The open house is not a at person open house, and maybe put a sign in the yard saying it's a virtual open house. So at least you get a drive-by on it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I haven't done one yet, because I don't know what the right thing to do is.
And then if you're doing it on your personal page on Facebook, let's say if you go live, even though you have your company name on there and you have to click, would that be considered you're still advertising it? Does that make sense?
Say that again, Brandon.
So basically, is it still branded if you're doing it on your personal Facebook page? Like if you go live or something like that and you have a link in there for the live link, or maybe even a video on your personal Facebook page or personal YouTube page.
I mean, you can do as much
can be branded
as you want to. It's just you can't put that thing on the MLS, but you can have branded open houses on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
I just meant as far as like advertising it, as far as like, let's say I did an open house and I have it underneath the comments. That would still be considered a virtual tour, I guess you would say, and I wouldn't have anything couldn't have anything branded on it.
Yeah, if it's on the MLS, it can't be branded.
Okay.
No matter where you put it, if it's agent remarks or public remarks or anything, if it's on the MLS, it can't be branded.
All right. I'm just thinking of workarounds.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm kind of thinking along the same lines as Amy. I don't know that I would put it out there as an open house on MLS, because then you might have people showing up, and it depends on what the expectations you set are. If the clients are okay with people showing up and you have it set up to be that, then I guess that's okay. But I would still make sure that you're only allowing one group of people in the house at a time, and you still have booties and gloves and hand sanitizer and all of those things if you're going to actually be doing an actual open house with people.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's basically what we did with that one listing. It was basically a open house from 5 to 6:30 at night on that one day. It was really people that wanted to see it that had scheduled appointments. We went into showing time and just restricted all of the other times other than between 5 and 6:30. We put it in the agent remarks that, back on market, the one showing window is 5 to 6:30 on this day. So this is when you can come look.
All right.
And luckily that worked. We got a contract from it. So if we didn't, we would have had to make another showing window down the road. But yeah, I think that was one of the things that that Zoom call, the Zoom video, like we have that link now. And so I think just having a quick link to be able to share with somebody, I totally, so what Sarah Jane said about having 30-second videos, I think is awesome. But I also think if it was one, 3-minute video that got the whole house all in one link, it would, if you can send one link to somebody and say, hey, here's YouTube, and they can see the whole house, I think that's awesome too. But I think all those are great. I mean, I didn't even think about sharing short videos on Instagram.
You can, in the past, we've tried to keep our videos under 3 minutes. But on this last one we did, I told my videographer not to worry about it because it was more important to try and show as much of the details as we could, assuming that people are going to have longer attention spans, especially if, they want to make sure they want to see it in person versus going out and tire kicking.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I've thought about too is, traditionally our pictures and our videos, at least the way that I've looked at them, has been try to drive traffic to the house, right? Like show them this awesome house, show them this cool stuff, and then drive them to the house so that they can actually see it. Don't show them every last little detail, just show them an overview and make them excited about it and get them to the house. But now it's kind of like, no, you got to show your detail. Like go open, like before it was, don't worry about the closets. They'll open that when they get here. Don't worry about this and that. Like, don't worry about the pantry. They'll open that when they get here. But now it's like, no, open the closet and show them like this one's a walk-in, and this pantry that's how big the pantry is, and here's the actual garage, which before we never would take pictures of a garage or even do anything with the virtual tour on the garage, but now we are, because we want people to be able to see that stuff.
Well, I think it's important to have like a series of videos, like multiple kinds, for people to like get attention, get detail, have high definition, have something just with your phone.
Yeah, even showing like, here's what the oven looks like, and here's the dishwasher and stuff like that they may check out looking at the house individually, but that they aren't able to if they're just doing it by video. Yeah, Clara just posted a link in the chat. That's a link to the advice for virtual open houses and your Facebook Lives. So Brandon, that's something that, check out that link that she just posted there.
They're also having a class today on KW Connect at 4 called Host Virtual Listing Presentations. So that might be helpful for some people.
Yep.
That's the link for it, the most recent one, the KW Connect one.
Okay.
The other one is just like two PowerPoint slides kind of.
Cool.
Laying out how to do it, I guess.
If you guys aren't accessing KW Connect right now, it's so powerful right now. I mean, they've got stuff going on all the time. And every day you log in, you can see what the calendar is. And there's just constantly new material coming out. When you log in right now, the front page says pivot, shift ahead. So I would definitely recommend getting in there and then having that be one of the things you do in the morning is just going and checking out what they've got going there. That's one of the things that our company provides value for us in doing. They've got a ton of value there for us to see what people across the country are doing. Like one of the things that I would tell you is we just heard yesterday that Colorado has now said that real estate is not essential, and that not that it's not essential, but that their lockdown is going to like the next level of lockdown where you can finish the closings you have, but that's all you can do. You can't go in any houses. You can't show anything. You can't do any of that stuff. So basically, if you have a closing that's passed inspections and appraisals, you can finish it and actually close it. But if you haven't had the inspection or the appraisal done, then you're not going to close that one until after we get through whatever this is. So I would just say that, as much as we can do virtually, like I've even thought all of our listings we do pre-inspections for. And so, and I know that the lenders are loosening up appraisal guidelines where they're allowing desktop appraisals sometimes now and things like that. But I'm just trying to think of all the things we can do virtually ahead of time. Like, does it make sense to, if you haven't gotten an inspection done on your properties, on your listings, does it make sense to go ahead and get inspections on them so that you have that report, so that if we get to the point where inspectors aren't allowed to go inspect houses, we've got an inspection done and like, here you go, and we can continue with this sale. I don't know, because that's the one thing, an inspection and appraisal are the one thing that our I think the limiting factor in doing things virtually. Like you can do a virtual showing, you can do a virtual open house, you can do a virtual contract signing, like all that stuff can happen. But you can't get the inspector virtually into the attic and virtually in the crawl space. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know where we'll go in South Carolina by the time this all shakes out, but I'm just trying to pay attention to what's happening around the country too, to have a little forewarning of what's to come for us.
So I was on some call, it might have been with you, Matt, and I've never really been a proponent of pre-inspections, but getting pre-inspections done on your listings has become a game changer for people. Maybe you just touched on that a little bit, but just doing it on the front end so people can see what's wrong with the house, like to Renee's point, get the tire kickers out of the way.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, even outside of this market we're in, I've always thought that, I mean, that changed my business huge when I tried to do that, or when I started doing that. It was a game changer for our business.
You know, it's in doing that, because I would say 98% of ours we do pre-listing, and I would say out of that, probably 35 or 40% will not get another inspection, especially if the agent knows the home inspector.
Yep. I mean, it allows you to control the transaction a lot more.
Well, my experience, I mean, I do a lot of business with the art team, and they do pre-inspections and we don't do pre-inspections. And I know that going in on listing appointments. And so we use that against each other, but I can see in today's environment where it would be a thing. I mean, so they charge 7% and they do that. They buy the inspection for the listing and then just make it on the back end. So if your seller doesn't want to pay for it on the front end, there's that. And it could be a differentiator too. And it is for them. It has been, for good or for bad.
Yep. I mean, my spiel with my sellers, and this is, you know, not necessarily exactly the topic of the mastermind, but the spiel with the pre-listing is, you know, we do it for lots of reasons. One, we want to make sure that you know what you got. Like, I don't want you negotiating your bottom line and saying, okay, like, yep, I'm agreeing to this price. And then all of a sudden you find out you got this $2,000 termite problem or $2,000 whatever. And you're like, well, crap, I wouldn't have taken that price if I would have known that I was, you know, gonna have to pay for these repairs. And so, you know, it's one, we want to make sure you know what you're doing. Two, it gives buyers peace of mind. You know, there's not a whole lot of people in the market that do it. So if they're looking at 10 other listings and, you know, we're the only one with the pre-inspection, they know, like, hey, I know what I'm getting here, especially if we do it and you make the repairs, like, hey, we've done the inspection. Here were the issues. Here's the contractor's invoice that clears up all these issues. So you're getting a clean bill of health. You're getting a good house. The buyer is more likely to buy your house instead of somebody else's with an unknown, especially in that first time home buyer price range. You know, that they don't have a bunch of extra money. So they're more likely to buy yours than the other one because they know that I'm not going to have all these extra things wrong. I'm not going to have to pay for an inspection, have the deal fall through. So it's a buyer peace of mind thing. Third, you know, we've had agents actually tell us that they like selling our listings and they push our listings a little bit harder because they know that a lot of the due diligence is done on the front end. You know, like they know that they're not going to have to sell our house and then have to have that fall through and go sell another one because we've already made sure there's no disaster that's going to, you know, cause the closing to not happen. And then fourth, it's a little bit selfish. And I don't want to list a house and go through however many months of marketing and pay all this money and then find out I can't sell it because you got a $5,000 problem we didn't know about and you don't have the money to fix it and you don't have enough equity in your house to fix it. So now we just got this unsellable house. So I'd rather pay, you know, a little bit of money for inspection up front and find that out now before I spend all this time and energy marketing your house when you can't sell it. So usually I say those things and they're like, oh yeah, makes total sense. Let's do that. And I feel like it sets us apart from a lot of the agents that don't do that. And it not only does it do that, but it makes the seller realize, like, man, these guys are professional and they know what they're doing. And yeah, this is how this is. Yeah. Okay. Where do I sign? Where, you know, a lot of agents don't do it and I also talk about how we're invested in your house. So it matters to me that it sells. I'm not just going to say, oh, whatever you want to list it for, let's list it. We'll put it out there and I'll get buyer calls and it doesn't matter whether your house sells or not, whatever. Like, no, I'm spending money on the second you sign that paper, I'm spending money. I'm having a pre-inspection done. I'm having it measured. I'm having all these things. I'm paying a photographer. I'm doing all these things. So if your house doesn't sell, I've actually lost money. It's not just time, it's actual money that I've spent. So I need your house to sell, one, to pay myself back, but I'm going to make money from it, but I also need to recoup the money that I spent. So I'm more invested in it than your average agent. And that's always been my kind of sales spiel on that. But that has everything to do with virtual.
Well, I get all that. I'm just saying, to the point of today's environment, to get that
Right.
out of the way,
Right.
is a tool.
For sure. And that's what I was saying. Not knowing where we go 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, whatever. Having as much as we can done up front, I think, like what you're talking about. I don't know how we could have an appraisal done up front, but that's the only thing that I don't think we could have done up front. What else? Anybody else have
Well, I mean,
anything?
you can pay for the appraisal. It's just not going to mean much when the
Right.
buyer's bank sends their own.
Yeah.
But like to your point on that Facebook page the other day, that I'll pay for Thomas Garvin to go measure for $75 or whatever it is, and
Yeah.
that makes that seller bound to me. Well, darn, that was nice. So
Yeah.
to your point, the appraisal's not going to matter much. I hear you.
So what else? Anybody else have anything about virtual showings or virtual anything?
I got one, Matt. I was a little late jumping on the call, so you guys may have discussed something like this, but I just posted in the joint group Facebook page a really good how-to guide on hosting virtual open houses from the Papazan group out of Austin,
Yeah.
Texas. For those who may not know, Jay Papazan's the co-author of The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Him and his wife run a amazing 7th level team down in Austin, Texas, and it's really good. I mean, they're kind of feeling their way through it as well. I mean, they've got some disclaimers in there where they're like, hey, look, we're just now starting this thing as well, trying to fill our way out. But it's like a 4 or 5 page document. It's a how-to guide. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Where did you put that, Nathan?
It's in the joint Facebook page. It's a
Okay, thank
PDF
you.
file. I just put on there yesterday.
All right.
By the way, too, I want to share a term that my MAPS coach shared with me that's given me, it's helped me put a frame of reference around some things. So when I was the team leader of the Northeast office, we used to joke about bold brain. And if anybody's been through bold, once you get to about week 4 or 5, your brain's just kind of shot. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, where you start making a lot of mistakes, and I'll start saying weird things and losing track of days, and your brain's just full from bold. There's so much going on. My MAPS coach yesterday said, he goes, what's going on right now? He goes, you got quarantine brain. And yeah, that's it right there, Franklin. Yeah. But I wanted to share that with everybody. If you just feel a little disjointed sometimes, it's quarantine brain. The whole world's going through it right now. Everything's upside down. I feel like sometimes I go to reach, like if I'm in a workshop and I go to reach for a screwdriver and I grab the screwdriver and I go to use it and it turns into a hammer. And then I go try to find the hammer and I go to use it and it turns into a stapler. I mean, all the tools we're used to using right now, some of them work and some of them don't. And we just have to, do things like this and mastermind and just keep changing and adjusting and pivoting to the market right now. And kudos for everybody being on this, and kudos to Matt, man, for hosting this, because right now there's other Facebook groups out there that I'm a member of a group called Real Estate Masterminds, which is entertaining. It's not Keller Williams, and the tempo and dynamic is so different. It's doom and gloom. And I mean, there's a market out there right now, y'all. I mean, it's happening. I'm just kind of getting my feet wet back in here after stepping out of leadership, but 2 contracts last week, a listing, and got a listing appointment scheduled for this Saturday. I mean, there's stuff happening, especially for those of us willing to get out there and go get it. So just got to keep shifting and pivoting.
Yep.
I don't know if we discussed virtual listing and buyer presentations.
appointments. Maybe that's another mastermind in itself.
So we went through a little bit just on Zoom earlier about sharing screens, and I think he jumped in right after we got done talking about some of the Zoom stuff. But yeah, we just talked about sharing your screen. I mean, I think what Olivia talked about on that team meeting the other day with, you know, if you're having your meeting right there, it actually can just be a nice flow right into like, hey, here's my presentation. Here's what we're talking about with your listing. Like, here's all the paperwork to sign. I'm going to go ahead and send you the DocuSign link. We'll share that too, and I'll walk through as you're signing. And same thing with buyers. Like, here's your buyer presentation. You know, I can share my screen. I'll go through it with you. We can collaborate. So if you have questions, just point out where your questions are. You can actually have them collaborate and like circle things or annotate it and circle things. And then it just flows right into, and here's the buyer agency. So I'm going to send this to you by DocuSign, and then, you know, we'll pop it right back in here and we'll go through it. And you can be signing it as we're doing it. You can share your screen with me as you're going through signing, and I can explain it to you and tell you where to sign. And then it's just happening, where it's not like this separate technology thing, where if you're having it in person, then it's like, okay, I'm going to send you this thing for signature later, or we're going to sit here forever and sign it in person. It just naturally flows when you're doing it online. So I actually think it's a kind of amazing way to do it. Hey, Lisa. Just saw you jump on.
Hi, guys.
Are you doing virtual listing presentations right now with your team?
I've actually done a few of those and having some success. As a matter of fact, just put a listing in yesterday that Brandy and I worked on it and collaborated together. So she's an agent on our team, and it is an estate sale, and we organized it so that we could actually go and see the house without him present. He dropped off keys, told us where the keys were, went to go see it because there were some things that we needed to see in person, but everything else we did virtual with him. And he's in Augusta anyway, and the other members of the estate are not here either. So we took a listing yesterday, put it in, and I have two others that we've done mostly, for the most part, the majority of it has all been online. And we have two more listings coming that, so we're working around it. We're making it happen.
What platform are you using when you're doing things online?
For the most part, I'm using Zoom just because it's a little bit easier. I tried the Google Meeting, and I've tried the Google Hangouts. It's a little bit harder to get, especially if you got someone who doesn't really understand Google for them, but Zoom seems to work better. It's a little bit easier as far as sharing screen and that kind of stuff.
Cool.
And I've had three buyer's agents on our team have actually signed EBAs online and doing those through Zoom as well, and walking them through everything online. And they've done virtual walkthroughs on 2 homes recently. So we're still, it is definitely not business as usual, but we are still doing what we can to make things happen and press forward.
Awesome. So I'm trying to share the file that Nathan shared, the virtual open house how to via our Zoom here.
Now, I don't know if any of you guys are friends with J. Michael Manley out of Greenville, but they hosted a virtual open house for the first time the other day. And the one thing I will tell you, I actually went in and asked some questions on the chat and kind of played with it with them so that I could get an idea from the consumer side of what that actually looked like. And the one thing I will tell you is I noticed that it's difficult because they were doing it for a 2-hour time frame. It was difficult for them to keep kind of keep going and keep the flow. So there was one point in which she sat the camera down because it had a beautiful backyard and it was extremely peaceful, and you could hear the birds and you could hear nature in the background because it was a huge yard with really pretty trees. So she kind of set the camera down and said, I'm just going to take a moment and let you guys go through and ask some questions. It was actually kind of surreal because here you are looking at this gorgeous backyard and you could almost see yourself sitting in that backyard, hearing the birds. And she said, can you imagine drinking coffee or having a glass of wine or cooking out with friends in this yard? So it was like putting yourself there without having to be there. So it was kind of cool the way they did it. The one thing that I noticed from it though is that, you know, people go in and out through that process, and keeping attention was probably the hardest part, is making sure that you could keep everyone's attention through the process.
Yeah, that's awesome though. Thinking about, like, I don't have anything else to do right now. I'm just going to set this phone up and let you check out how awesome this backyard is and hear these birds chirping. That's cool. So I'm going to share. This is the I think that should be the right thing, right? That's the Papasan Properties Group thing. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, that's the right one.
Yeah. So that's the thing that Nathan posted, hosting a virtual house on Facebook instructions. Yeah, I like that. Publishing it as a premiere, like this house is premiere, like a movie premiere. So yeah, Nathan posted this on the joint Keller Williams page, joint Keller Williams Columbia page. If you guys want to go run in there and grab it. Cool. Yeah, they even have steps on how to do it. Screenshots. That's pretty sweet. Cool. Well, who else? Anybody else have anything to say, or any questions for anybody or anything?
I miss y'all.
I just found a interesting article from NAR about open houses, and it gives you some tips on some pools and things like that. I'm going to post a link in the chat.
Yeah, that Nick Cremitis sent an email out with a bunch of those maybe a week ago. So I think you guys all get the emails from Nick Cremitis. Yeah, I think he sends them out to the whole South Carolina Realtor Association. Cool.
So his videos are pretty informative as far as, I mean, some of the tips are pretty nerdy, but the videos I have him on alert when he does a video, when he comes on Facebook, it pops on my phone immediately. And I mean, it's just pretty good. It's pretty informative. It keeps me ahead of the curve on just stuff.
Yep.
Not tech stuff, but law stuff.
Yep. Yeah, Brandon just shared that link in the chat for anybody that wants to grab it. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. We'll have the next mastermind. If you know of anybody that wants to jump on, the next one is going to be Tuesday at 3, and we're going to talk about negotiating, you know, in our current environment. So anybody that you know that wants to contribute or that needs help or whatever, just some of the negotiating tactics, both, you know, with you and your potential clients, and then also from seller to buyer, you know, because we're kind of flipping from a seller's market to a buyer's market a little bit, it seems like. So, you know, what are we doing with our clients in this day and age, and what can we do to keep moving things along? So be there, be square. It'll be the same link. So we'll see everybody on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. I'm sure I'll see you before then, but Tuesday at 3 o'clock for the next mastermind. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Have a good one.